Welcome to Daily Success. Listen in on these personal conversations with today's leaders, innovators, and influencers as they discuss daily success principles, systems, and solutions. Get ready for Daily Success. Now, here's your host.
Hi, everyone. This is Tammy Patzer, and this is Daily Success Word of the Day. And I'm really excited because today's word is probably the most powerful word that you can ever have. And the word is gratitude. And I am going to introduce you to VISMAYA RUBIN. She is on a mission to help people celebrate the deliciousness of life through a gratitude practice. She teaches people how to savor their experiences while connecting to the lessons they're supposed to learn. She's an entrepreneur, educator, best-selling author, and a world traveler. Her friends call her VISMAYA, a name she was given in India, which means surprise or wonder. For her, life is full of surprises. She believes that if we don't accept the gifts life offers, they will stop coming. She was a high school teacher in South Florida, and she brought the practice of gratitude to her students and encouraged them to find things to be grateful for every day. And it became not only part of their homework, but part of their everyday lives. Can you imagine having a teacher that helped you learn about gratitude so that you could actually start your life out in such a positive, powerful way every single day? So student after student shared that since they started their lives have become better than ever, and their grades even improved. So I'm going to let you tell us, VISMAYA, what is your definition of the word gratitude?
My definition of the word gratitude, first of all, I'm grateful to be here, so thank you for having me. My definition of the word gratitude is really that feeling you get, that emotion you get when you recognize the good stuff in your life, when you recognize that there is good in your life, when you recognize the things that make you feel happy and joyous and celebratory. It's almost like, for me, the only way I can describe it is like an all over body high. You recognize it with every cell in your body. And I think the beauty of gratitude is that it can happen even when when you're faced with a lot of life challenges. It's not just when everything is wonderful and fantastic and joyous. You really can experience gratitude and that feeling when you're faced with challenges. And I think that's something that we need to really pay attention to and cultivate.
So for you, gratitude, you actually, when you were a teacher in South Florida, you actually had gratitude as part of your lesson plan. I'm really curious about that. I just want to know a little bit more about how did you incorporate that into the courses that you taught?
So at the end of my teaching career, I taught for 20 years in Dade County. And at the end of my teaching career, I had my students create gratitude charts. So from day one, when they walked in my class, I said, here's the deal. Every month, you're going to create a gratitude chart. And what that means is that you're going to look in your life. You're not going to change anything, but you're going to look in your life and you're going to look for these moments that bring you happiness, that make you smile, that bring you a joy, that bring you a sense of accomplishment, that whatever it is that just you feel that moment of elation, let's say. And in the beginning, of course, because they're teenagers, they thought I had lost my mind, and they, rolled their eyes and they said, we're not going to do this. I said, okay. They said, we're going to lie. I said, okay. And what happened is the constant conversation. Hey, did you find anything to be grateful for? Did you recognize anything? Did you notice anything? What ended up happening is they started to shift the way they saw their life. Now, because I was teaching a writing course and Dade County had decided that we had to do evidence-based writing, we did a lot of research on gratitude. We did the science behind gratitude. So they had another way of they had the science behind it. I'm not so sure if they bought into everything, but what they did buy into is the fact that they were recognizing things in their life that they had not recognized before. And they recognized, one of my students tells me that he and his brother, both of whom were in my class, that their experience of each other was different. They didn't fight as much. I had another girl come up to me and tell me, before your class, I used to think I didn't matter, that my opinion of myself was very low. And she says, after your class, she says, I want you to know that I know that I matter, and I know that I'm important. I had another girl, just experience joy in her life exactly the way it was. She says, I feel happier. I'm excited that I spend time with my family. I never realized how much time I spend with my family. And I think that's the beauty of it, is the fact that gratitude can come from the ordinary. It doesn't have to be some moment, some grandiose moment. It really comes from the ordinary, but it's about walking through our life with our eyes open and really training our brain to look for those moments that bring us joy. And if I may add something, it's like when you're in a crowded room, if somebody said, Tammy, you would turn your head, right? Because you would recognize that that's your name, that's important to you, that's something that we've been taught to do. If somebody says VISMAYA, I turn around and I recognize that they're calling me. And it's the same thing with gratitude. When you train your brain to look for the good stuff, you start to notice it automatically. You start to pay attention to it, and it starts to all of a sudden pop up in your head. Oh, that's a moment of gratitude. Whoa, that's something, that just made me smile and feel good. So the more we practice this, and it is a practice, the more we practice looking for these moments, the faster we find them.
So how important is gratitude? Because I really think that if you look at our lives, and you said something, that looking for something to be grateful for or to have gratitude, even in moments of struggle or adversity, what does gratitude do to us? I know you mentioned that in the classes that you actually looked it up and tried to, the science behind gratitude. What is it about being grateful for the simple things? As you were talking, I was thinking about yesterday, for example, we have an alligator in our pond in the backyard. Well, there were two yesterday. And I was thinking, and I was watching nature, in action, where the one alligator was basically saying, hey, get off my pond property, and was acting aggressive. And then the other one left. And that was kind of like cool. I witnessed nature, or the flowers and how the butterflies flit from one to another, or, cooking dinner. I made something that it was kind of like an experiment, and it was kind of like, well, that would probably only be a once in a lifetime event for that dinner I made. And I was grateful for that opportunity that I got to make it. And I probably won't make it again, because it didn't go over well, but yet it was still something to be grateful for. And then those things in life where, the sad things that happen, and different moments, and to find that gratefulness in them. What is the science?
So there's science, there's research that shows that gratitude is directly correlated to happiness. So the more you practice gratitude, the happier you are, which is very interesting, because happier people are 27% more productive than people who are in a neutral state or sad state. It releases endorphins in our body. People are less depressed. There's studies that say people sleep better. There are studies that show how your relationships improve when you are practicing gratitude. And that's really practicing gratitude with each other, like acknowledging your partner, acknowledging your coworkers, acknowledging your employees, saying, hey, you did a good job. So there are definitely scientific studies that are showing that. And it's not to say that, let's be real, because life is going to happen. And I think that we need to be clear that, like you said, in the sad moments when sickness or death, you're expected to feel sad. That's normal. And to say that we're supposed to be happy all the time is for me, a little ridiculous. I think it's finding those moments of joy and finding those moments of happiness in the middle of all of that. That for me, gratitude, that is the emotion that I call gratitude. And I can tell you experience after experience when times were difficult, that all of a sudden I got these flashes and I realized that this is a moment of gratitude right now happening. You know, my aunt died a few years ago and she was in the hospital. She had cancer and she asked her son to leave. She asked her daughter-in-law to leave the room and she asked her husband to leave the room. And she said, stay. I said, okay. And in my head, I'm like, why would she ask me to stay and not those other people? And she says, when they all left, she says, I need you to help me with my bedpan. And now I'm really confused. Like, why would she ask me and not her daughter-in-law? They were very close. So I did what she asked me to do. I helped her with her bedpan. And when I left the hospital, I got in the car and I sat down for a second and it hit me. And she didn't say anything other than, help me with my bedpan, please. And what I realized she said to me was, I trust you. I trust you enough to help me in this moment that I am so open and vulnerable and need help, and I'm asking you to do it. And I think that if I hadn't been consciously aware of these kind of experiences or the ability to look for the things or have those things find me, I might have missed that experience. And to have those things find me, because again, it goes back to the experience of when you're in the room and somebody calls your name, you hear your name. Well, I've also am in the practice of looking for the good, juicy stuff in my life. Like I really believe, like you said in my intro, I believe that life gives us these gifts. And if we stop paying attention to them or we don't accept them and we don't say yes, they pass us by. And this was a moment that it almost hit me like right in the forehead and said, she just gave you a moment of gratitude. She just gave you a gift. And I think was coming from Miami to Hollywood. It's like a 45-minute drive. And I was hysterical the whole time, but just feeling immensely grateful and engulfed in love. It was the most powerful moment that I shared with my aunt.
So how long have you been on this mission of spreading gratitude and what it means and helping other people, I guess for lack of better words, find gratitude in daily living? And I think it's such an apropos word for daily success, because if you live in gratitude, like what you've just said, you recognize it more and more in these little moments of time. How long has this been part of your life, and why has it become like your mission? I mean, you actually have a website, Living Gratitude Today. You speak about gratitude. You do events about gratitude. You have T-shirts with the hashtag grateful. You have I have bracelets. You have a gratitude bag. You are like on this big mission, and it's become your life's work. Like, why and when did all this happen? What happened that made you just go, this is what I'm meant to do?
I don't know if there's a defining moment per se. I've always think that I thought I was lucky. I always realized, my mom is bipolar and my parents got divorced when I was 3. But I never allowed people to pity me or feel bad for me because I always had experiences that were phenomenal. And I think it's ever since I was a little kid, I've always been able to feel those feelings. So I can't say that there's a defining moment, I guess I changed it I always thought I was lucky. Like I would travel and things would happen to me that wouldn't happen to other people. And I always realized that my life worked out. Even in the moments, the darkest moments, my life works out. Life works for me. The universe has my back. And it's interesting because I have a community of people who, if I'm in a space and they'll remind me the universe has your back. Why are you getting all stressed out? You know that everything works out for you. So I can't say that there was a defining moment. I think that it's been something that has been cultivating my whole life. I can share moments where it was very clear how gratitude has shifted things for me. But to say when it really started, I think it's almost been there my whole life. Like I've always recognized gifts that I've received and moments that I've been blessed with all this, with things that other people don't get. So I can't say there's a defining moment. But why is it my life's mission? Honestly, because it really makes me feel good. And when it makes me feel good and I feel good, the people around me feel good. And I think that it's, and that's not to say that I feel good 100% of the time every day, because I'm human and I go through my moments. But then again, that voice in my head, the universe has your back, you know that you're going to be okay. And I find a way to pull out of it. And then I find something juicy and delicious that happens. And I'm like, okay.
The universe has your back. I really like that. That should be the title of your book. The universe has your back. Because it is interesting, because again, over the years, I mean, I've heard, gratitude. A lot of people talk about gratitude, but I think not everybody understands it in the same way that you do. And I think that is a true gift. I actually just talked with Marty Ward about TAG, talents, abilities, and gifts. And you certainly have the talents, abilities, and gifts around gratitude. Tell me a little bit more about what you're doing and what types of programs you do and events that you put on when you speak or when you share about gratitude.
So once a year we have the Gratitude Summit, and last year was the first year. And what I did was I interviewed about 15 different people who have a gratitude practice and who introduce gratitude in a different way than I do to our community. So that was one thing I did. I've spoken on a lot of stages. I've done a lot of radio shows. The goal is to really speak a lot more so that this message of gratitude gets out. Because like you said, I don't wake up and go, woohoo, I'm so happy to be alive. And you should be grateful for everything. That's not my energy. That doesn't resonate with me. So I get that we should be grateful that we have water, and we should be grateful that we have clothes on our back, and we should be great. But to say that I should be grateful for that doesn't resonate with me. So for me, what it is again, cultivating that experience, the ability to recognize when those moments happen for me. And that's when I feel that moment of gratitude. And that's not to say I'm not grateful for water or the clothes, but when I really can feel that moment, and that's really my mission, is to get people to see right now in their life, how do I break up when I'm in a miserable moment? What do I do? And gratitude is really like the CPR of life, and I was having a conversation with somebody the other day, and she said, explain to me, what do you tell people when they're going through hardship? And it's really the CPR of life. It brings you, it resuscitates you, right? So you categorize what's going on. You put all the things that are not working, acknowledge them, put them in one little category. And once they're all in that little category, stop for a second and pause. That's the P part. And pause and set your alarm to go off on your phone to do that on a regular basis. Pause on a regular basis. And the R is reflect. What has happened in those last few hours that have given me reason or given me cause or made me feel happy or made me smile or made me feel good, or maybe I did something for myself or for somebody else. So it's really about taking that time to pause and reflect, pause and reflect, pause and reflect.
So the C in CPR is what again?
It's really like categorize your life into
categorize.
So right. So if something's not working, that's okay. Acknowledge it, but put it in a category. This is not working. That doesn't mean everything's not going to work. That means right now this is not working, right? So I think it's important that we acknowledge what's not working and pay attention to it, and not go, oh, of course it works. Everything works. Okay, this isn't working right now. But that doesn't mean that every moment isn't going to work. And I think it's to find those moments that do work, so that when you get back into this sticky mess right now, these challenges, you're able to deal with them a little bit better. You're able to bring light to them. You're able to find something to push you forward, to get you to the next space.
So do you also work with people one-on-one or in groups or online? Besides the speaking, do you do like
that's coming.
We're
Yes, That's coming. We're going to do not necessarily one-on-one, but more group stuff, where when you become part of the gratitude movement, you'll have a separate Facebook group where there'll be discussions about how do we elevate ourselves in those moments of challenges? I think it's easy to do it when life is great. We recognize the things that we're grateful for, or sometimes we don't, we're just kind of riding that wave of everything is good. And to be conscious, even when life is good, but especially when life's challenges. So there will be a separate Facebook group. There is a separate one now, but we're going to get more active in that and really focus on how do we create those moments of gratitude? How do we shift ourselves out of the space of everything isn't working? Because that's not the truth either, to the space of everything, things may not be working right now, but I can still experience those moments that do work. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
You're actually creating, you said it was called the gratitude movement?
Yes.
Okay. So the gratitude movement. So now is the time, like ground floor opportunity,
Yes.
to get involved with this with you, which is really a cool place to be whenever you're watching somebody explode like what you're doing right now. And again, gratitude is so important. Now, have you written your book yet?
I have not. We're in the thought process of what it's going to be.
Because I can see just from listening to you, and again, this is a great start with you start with gratitude, definition, daily success, word of the day. And it's just like the small part of it that will actually help you to focus, so that once you have the little small, 150 word definition that will actually appear in the daily success book that goes along with this interview. I think this is going to be an exciting thing for me and the audience, because we can say, hey, remember when VISMAYA was telling us about how this gratitude movement is starting and exploding, and we were there, so
Right.
I'm excited about that.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's begun. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, what else are you doing?
A lot of speaking. A lot in the future. We have more speaking, and that's really what I want to do, is do a lot of speaking and traveling. So going to different places, different events, and doing a lot of speaking. I'm not necessarily right now going into coaching, but I'm not going to say never. I will say not right now. But, it's interesting because when I took off from work in June, I had this whole plan that I was going to work and build this program and get it even, because like I said, we've already started, but to get it to the next level. And then my dad got really sick, and the ability to be, or the privilege of being there while he was transitioning was beyond powerful. It was beyond a gift, and things didn't move as fast as I wanted them to, but I also had the ability to spend time with my father as he was transitioning. So that was a remarkable gift. That was it would not have happened had I been working in a classroom. So
well, that is something that we should be thankful for, is when we do have the opportunities to be with the people we love, because that's one of the things that most of us learn, is that we're not grateful for the people, and then they're gone or they get really sick, and then we go, oh my God, I need to really pay attention to what's important. And what is important, our relationships, our people.
Yes.
We just had a conversation today about relationships. That was the word of the day. And this is what is so cool about daily success word of the day. Every word somehow connects to the other words. And when I put this out there, I didn't arrange any of these things in any order. I just said, hey, what word would you like to do? And it's funny because Don Meyer also wanted the word gratitude And I said, well, VISMAYA is doing that. And she goes, oh, okay, well, I'll do possibilities. And she was
Nice.
so gracious and kind about that. I just wanted to say, you know, that is gratitude we're at work, when somebody recognizes that, you know, both of you wanted the same word and both of you operate out of gratitude. And she was just like, well, hey, possibilities works for me. And I just thought that was so cool, because I really felt that gratitude should be your word. I mean, it's just obvious, because I know that last year we both went out to Los Angeles to this big women's event. And it was so funny because I'm running around this event, pulling people, hey, you got to go back to this booth. And one of the ladies, I was just like, talk about being grateful. This one lady was going, oh yeah, my daughter's getting married. And so she was like, she bought bracelets and t-shirts. And I was just like, wow, how phenomenal was that I was able to participate in that way, just by walking around and saying, hey, did you see the booth back there? And that actually made it on me, that I was able to help in that one little small way, you know, just by...
And I was very grateful for that.
And a direction. And you also do the little gratitude bags. Tell me a little bit more about those, because I don't quite know how to describe them to people.
So they're small pouches, and they're about 5 by 7. And the idea is they have 36 cards inside. And I picked 36 because in Jewish numerology, 18 is the number of life. So 2 times 18 is 36. So the idea is that you write down your gratitude wins on those cards. And when I say wins, I'm saying who or what made a difference for you today. The I stands, what did I do for myself or somebody else? The N is, did I try something new? Did I have a new experience? Did I say yes to something that I wanted to say yes to? And the S is really what made me smile today. So you write down your gratitude wins on that card, and you put them in the pouch. You keep the gratitude bag with you. And whenever you're having a rocky moment, or you're having, you know, you just want to smile, you open up that bag and you read the things you wrote. And what's really interesting in my experience is that most of the things that I've written down, had I not written them down, I would not remember them, because they were not monumental things. They were small little things that happened that really just brought joy to me, that made me smile, and that were something that I took notice of. And because they're written down on my gratitude cards, I'm able to keep that as a memory.
That's really cool. That's interesting, because I've been traveling a lot, and I sat down next to these 2 women, you know, 2 random women, but I'm sitting on the outside edge in the aisle. It's Southwest Airlines, you know, you sit wherever, and I always try to get the edge. But as people were walking in, I was noticing that they were like wearing t-shirts or different things. So I was sitting there, and I said, somebody had a cool t-shirt, and all I said was, oh, I like your t-shirt. They smiled, walked on. And then somebody else, and this was like random, the lady sitting next to me, she goes, oh my God, you're the friendliest person I've ever met. And I had to laugh, because seriously, all I did was recognize something cool about that.
About somebody else. Yeah.
Equated that to me being really friendly. And she said this in a nice way. And I just, how interesting is it that surprised her, because all I did was see something about that person and I complimented it. Like, oh, I like your shirt, you know, or I like the color of your shirt. I mean, it was something very just so simple and true, you know, because it was like, oh, that's pretty. And I actually verbalized it. But think about that in the world of gratitude, that if we just were to verbalize something that we think, I mean, a positive thing.
Right.
That how many people we could touch in a positive way just by saying something nice. as simple as, oh, I like your shirt, or, oh, that's a pretty earring or earrings, or interesting. But like I said, the part about that whole thing was that this woman formed an opinion of me based on the fact that I complimented somebody on something so simple. And I just thought that was so interesting. What else are you doing? I know you have the grateful, you're wearing one of your shirts, and I
want to say something about the
I
want to say something.
One in every color.
Yay! I remember that you were wearing one at the women's conference. But it's so interesting with these shirts, because people say to me, "What? Do you have any other clothes?" And I said, "Of course I do. I have a closet full." But every time I wear them, every time somebody stops me, somebody high fives me. The other day I had my the ear things in, and I was on the phone, and somebody didn't see earphones in my head. And she starts, "Oh my God, I love your shirt." And she's like, "Come here, give me a hug." And she comes over, she grabs me, and she's talking my ear off. And then she finally realized that I was on the phone. And she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry." But it was such a cool experience. I'm in the grocery store, and I always tell people, I put out a gratitude calendar every month. And they're little things that you can do every single day to create a moment of gratitude in your life. They're not expensive. Some, may cost a few bucks, but most of them are free. And one of the things I tell people is, when you're in line at a grocery store, put your phone down so that your head is not like this. Your head is up. So I'm noticing that my head is in my phone. I said, take your own advice. I pick my head up to acknowledge the cashier, to say thank you, for being here, for doing what you're doing. And never fails. This one guy walks up, sees my shirt as he's walking out. He goes, "What's up, Grateful?" And it made me feel so good. He got a boost of happiness. I got a boost of, joy, and it shifted the energy in the grocery store for a second, because I'm beaming now. So I'm beaming and looking at the person behind me, and they were like, "That was kind of cool." The lady, is now in the line. We're all engaged in conversation. And really, that's the power of wearing these shirts, is that it gives you the ability to shift not only your space, but the space of other people around you. And time after time, I wanted to get snarky at times, and realize I look down, I see the word grateful, and it stopped me in a second. I remember I was in a line at the post office, and this older gentleman was complaining about everything. And I knew that I should have used the bathroom before I went to the post office, because it was December and I had to go to the bathroom like nobody's business. And I'm like, now I have this man in front of me, huffing and puffing that the line is too long. And, in Europe, when he was in Europe, that there was never this kind of line. So I said, "Oh, where did you go?" He said, "I went to France." I said, "How lovely. Did you go for business or pleasure?" And he says, "I went for business." I said, "Wow, what kind of line of work are you in?" I said, "I want to do that where I can travel for business. I don't share my information with people." Okay, great. And it reminded me in that second that I get a choice in the matter. Like, I get to be grumpy or I get to be grateful. And that's how fast it worked. So I smiled at him and I let him be as grumpy as he wanted to be. And I chose to just, really ignore him for the rest of the time I was there, because I wasn't going to shift his energy. He didn't want to shift, but I wasn't going to allow myself to be drawn into that. So every time I wear the shirts, I get people calling me up and telling me, "This happened and that happened, and I have to have your cards because everybody wants one." And so it's not just putting on a shirt. It's really creating an experience every time you walk out of the house. So, and then it is really powerful.
If you literally, by having a word printed on a shirt, can shift the energy into a positive way, and just, you make the world a better place. And if you don't have a shirt, just smile at people. It works.
Get a shirt. livingingratitudetoday.com.
Yeah, I love that, because it is, I'm not kidding, the bracelets, the shirts, the cards, the gratitude bag, everything that you have created is just a testament to your creativity and that positive energy that you've created, that, it's like being in this gratitude bubble. And it's like everybody that you come into contact with, they feel it, and it makes them happy and positive and joyful. And there are always going to be those grumpy, grumpy old men or grumpy people that no matter what, they've made the choice.
Right.
To live in the way, and there isn't anything. But again, you have that protection around you, and you attract all things good because of the fact that you're grateful. And that's what I always believe, that I'm a magnet for all things good. And I'm so grateful that you on the show today for Daily Success Word of the Day, for the word gratitude, because I think you probably opened up a lot of people's eyes to what it means and how you can shift the energy, like instant shift of looking at the world from, a negative place to looking at the world from a positive. And then also just seeing those little things like the gifts. Like, who in the world would ever be grateful that somebody said, help me with my bedpan?
Really?
You took something that would be like, oh my God, how disgusting is that? To, oh my God, she trusted me with something so private and personal. I mean, you turned around something and saw it for what it was. It was an act of trust and faith to help her, and she chose you. How cool.
I felt like she gave me a gift.
Yeah. And I think that's what all of us need to start. Like you said, if you start to live in gratitude and to recognize the gifts, the little teeny gifts that at that moment in time, obviously the bad things that happen to us, we're not seeing them as a gift. We're seeing them as, oh my God, why me?
Why me?
And then later you might say, oh my God, how lucky was I that I got to be part of that? What you were saying about your dad, you got to be part of that.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that, because one of my friends was sharing a story that in South Florida we had a bridge collapse, and somebody she knows was driving towards the bridge and somebody cut her off. And that person that cut her off, she started to get into that space. Why'd you cut me off? And the bridge ended up falling on the person in front of her. So not that we wish that on anybody, but it's just a moment of perspective, perception. She cut me off, so what? Not, and again, it's a practice, but we don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. So we get to choose the moments that we have, and we get to find ways to find joy in them, and find moments to be gracious and grateful and happy. And then when we have those other moments, those other experiences, that we're able to shift ourselves out of them a little bit quicker.
Wow. Wow, Maya, what phenomenal conversation. And everybody, the way that I see this conversation, and I've said this before, it's like we're in a restaurant. Everybody would have been leaning in, listening to us talk, because they would be going like, oh my goodness, what a fascinating conversation. And it was, and it's fun. What a fun conversation. And talking about gratitude and being grateful, and the fact that you're focusing your life on helping people to understand the power of gratitude, that is just so phenomenal. So I will definitely put your website into the show notes. And any last words before I let you go about gratitude and daily success?
Absolutely. So like I had mentioned before, there is a gratitude calendar on my website, and it changes every month. And I've pulled some of the national holidays, like tomorrow is National Siblings Day. But really the fun part about it is that it gives you action steps to take on a regular basis so that you're able to experience joy in your life every day. And there's small things that maybe get up and dance for 45 seconds, or look in the mirror and smile at yourself and tell yourself how beautiful you are, or write your goals on your mirror. Whatever it is, there's small little action steps. Some of them take a little longer, but they shift the way your day is going, or they shift the way, it gives you a moment of gratitude is the bottom line. And it gives you something to think about. And it's complimentary. It's on the website, livingingratitudetoday.com. And I encourage everybody to download it. It's fun. It's exciting. Last month we had, create your own party day, or your celebration day. And download it. You'll start to see how much fun you can have, like in 5 seconds.
Well, I think that's really, really cool. And that's what daily success is all about, is little teeny things that you do over and over and over again. And that is what creates, weekly success and yearly success and a successful life. It all starts, like you said, a moment in time. And then it just builds on that. So, VISMAYA, I really appreciate you being here. And thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. This is Tammy Patzer. Go make it daily success. And remember, it just starts with one little ounce, not even an ounce. Like in the Bible, they say, have the faith of a mustard seed. I mean, it's a tiny, tiny little piece of gratitude that you can build on day after day. So everyone, go make it a beautiful day. This is Tammy Patzer.
You've been listening to Daily Success. Tune in again and subscribe. Never miss a moment of daily success.